All right, Ryan. So I feel I'm starting to feel it a lot. We are just days away. You told me just days away until the first preseason game for the UConn Huskies. I've caught some videos. I don't know about you. I've caught some videos of highlights, practice highlights. I've caught some videos of AZ Fudd and AZ Fudd interview, and I thought about a lot of people, a lot of subs on this podcast because you know that the starting lineups and AZ Fudd talk can get very heated on here for some reason. But it was very, I didn't get to watch all of it, but she had talked about, they asked her what her role is for this year. And I liked her response right away. It was, or what the person interviewing her asked, what are your main goals for yourself this year? And she go, well, there's not really any personal goals. She said the goal is to win, and that's a team goal. So I think a lot of people in UConn will really like that. I think that's where it all starts. Give AZ Flood credit. And I think that I was like, I have to tell Ryan, I knew you would like that because, hey, it seems like some people on this pod, and correct me if I'm wrong, are not big fans of AZ Fudd. Hey, man, I think you can argue it all starts out with mindset.
Yeah, I mean, I know we definitely have a lot of strong and passionate Caroline Ducharme fans on here, so we have to make sure to talk about her a lot more during the season, and I'm sure she'll have a good year as well. But I agree with AZ, and I've been looking at some articles, watching some videos about Gino being interviewed by the media, and Gino, he's really excited about how the team is practicing, and I think kind of the mindset that all the coaches and players have going into this season is it's going to be a whole team effort. Obviously, with the Paige Becker's injury, I think everybody just has to step up even more now. But I think that is the correct mindset that everybody's going to have not an equal amount of minutes, but a good amount of minutes to go around. And I think it's going to take everybody giving 110% every single game during all the practices, making sure to practice hard. And I like what I'm hearing out of Gino so far. He's saying everybody's practicing really hard and everybody's getting along good. So I think the chemistry's there. I think everybody's mindset's good. And yeah, I mean, the first exhibition or preseason game is against Kutztown on November 6th. So a little under 2 weeks away, we'll get first preseason action.
And I saw something that said AZ Fudd could have a big time season, according to top NBA skills trainer Chris Brickley. Hey, that's correct me if I'm wrong. I think I was one of the first ones high on this player months ago when we started talking about the new season coming up. I think I pointed out to you on the list. I think we went over that and we said one player to watch for the upcoming season, especially now with Paige Becker's out the whole season. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I told you, Ryan. I think my player to watch was AZ Fudd.
Yeah, and it's just so fun to watch AZ Fudd during their first media day there, and they had the big gathering there in Gamble. But it's just so fun to watch AZ Fudd shoot the basketball. She has such a unique shot. It's so fun to watch her on offense. She had so many highlight reels from this past season. She played so many minutes, got the starting bid a lot during the last season, and stepped up really
Mhm.
big time. But you know, she has a couple things to improve in terms of the rebound and defensive side of things, stealing the ball. But her offense is just incredible, and it can only get better and better. So I'm really excited to watch AZ Fudd this year, along with everybody else. But it's really fun to watch AZ Fudd create her own shot and shoot the basketball.
All right, so starting lineups. Here we go again with this. I'll give you my five. You can go with your five. So Aaliyah Edwards, Aaliyah Edwards. Now with unfortunately Paige Becker's out. You know, they brought in Lou Lopez for a reason. I think that you actually see Lou Lopez game one. I just had that feeling. You might disagree. I'm going with Lou Lopez, Aaliyah Edwards. I'm going Dorka Uhas. It's a tough. It's tough, Ryan. It is very tough. I will go AZ Fudd and Caroline Ducharme. That's five right there.
Yeah, I like it. And mine's going to be a little different because you have three forwards and I actually have three guards because that was the main
Ooh.
theme
Okay.
from last year, because I think that in the past couple of years, UConn's been more of a guard sided team. They had more guards to go around. And this year, there's more forwards listed on the roster. Of course, they have Lou Lopez listed as a forward, even though I think she can kind of play both positions. But I like that prediction. I like how you have Lou Lopez in the starting lineup. Obviously, the transfer, obviously, she's from France. So it's going to
Let's
be
see
really
what they say
exciting.
about it. Let's see what they say
It's
about
gonna,
it.
yeah, I'm really excited to watch her too. I basically had the same starting five except swapping out a guard for a forward. Have AZ and Caroline in there as guards. Have Dorka and Aaliyah obviously as the forwards, but instead of Lou Lopez, I'm gonna go with Nika Mule as the other guard in the starting lineup. I think she's gonna have uh I think last season we saw her kind of handling the ball more on offense, and I think now kind of this season it's going to be the same situation. So I think Nika Mule is going to kind of be at times the main ball carrier. So I think maybe the first game I think Nika will be out there, but I think we can see multiple starting lineups throughout the season. And I'm sure Lou
Yeah.
Lopez might be in the starting lineups for some of these games. But first night, I think I'm going AZ, Caroline, Nika, Dorka, and Aaliyah Edwards.
Yeah, and let's just again let's clear it up here because I know the water was kind of muddy as far as this topic. I'm really going into this season with high expectations. All right, I think, and I'll leave it off at this. I'll let you I'll let you analyze this. I'll leave it off right here. I just Again, I understand. I get it. Legendary head coach, the coaching staff, on and on, the program, the experience. I get it. I get all that, Ryan. High expectations Phil has, yes, for this team. Yes, you do too, I think, Ryan. But I'll leave it off right here and you can analyze on it because I know you love to. I don't think people understand how tough, no matter college, professional. Some people, I'm not saying everybody. I don't think how, I don't think people realize how tough it is, how hard it is. You could have two, three, four, the best starting five in the whole league. I don't think, Ryan, people realize how hard it is to be the last team standing.
Yeah, it's so difficult. And I mean, we've seen UConn obviously do it 11 times before, but they haven't done it in about 5 years. And I mean, you can say it's because they don't have enough size, they don't have enough forwards, but it's not easy for any team. Like you said, you could have the best team, the best coaches, and it's going to be equally challenging for every single team. But I mean, this year they got a couple transfers. They got Lou Lopez, right? I know a lot of people are
Mhm.
excited about her.
Yeah.
And then Ines Betancourt as well. That was the last player they got. It was kind of a surprise because I think a lot of people didn't really expect them to add another player, but they had another scholarship, got the player, got another guard from Portugal, and I think she might see a couple minutes as well. And that's we'll have to see. I don't really know what her role is going to be yet. I know Gino said there's not really a specific role that any player has, but UConn's kind of a little short on guards this season, so it's going to be interesting what kind of minutes Ness sees for the first couple of games. But Ice Brady, Ayanna Patterson, I think they're gonna be big. They're two
I
big
was gonna
forwards
say, let
coming
me
out of
just
high
say,
school.
yeah, I was just gonna say, because I saw some comments about the incoming freshmen coming in. I was just gonna let me take a quick second and cut you off. I cannot wait to see. We talk about so much the seniors and the girls with experience. I can't wait to see what the freshmen bring to this team because sometimes we talk about just because you have FR freshman listed next to your name, man, that doesn't mean that you're going to see a lot of bench time if you come in and prove yourself right away.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely a challenge for any freshman coming from high school into college, especially from UConn. But it's going to be challenging to play anywhere, going from the high school to the collegiate level. But yeah, I mean, I think for sure, I think Ice Brady and Ayanna Patterson are going to see some pretty big minutes. I would expect for the first couple of games. So I think they're going to play a pretty big role this season. Of course, Amari DeBerry coming off the back surgery, so it's going to be interesting to kind of see what she's able to do And then of course Aubrey Griffin as well. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of minutes she sees. But I think Dorka Juhas, obviously her last season here, decided to come back. Really, really excited that she did. So expecting really, really big things from her. AZ Fudd, Caroline Ducharme, I think they're kind of the future, along with Paige Beckers, obviously here at UConn. But AZ Fudd, Caroline Ducharme, that duo together, I think that's going to be really fun to watch them this season.
Did my apologies. Did we actually uh did you actually give me your starting five? Phil
I
is just
did,
not
yeah.
okay. You
Yeah.
did. All right. Let me hear it one more time. Is Phil is just not paying attention? What's new? Phil's not paying attention on Tuesday mornings. Too early still.
Yeah, I got AZ, Caroline, Nika, and then the two forwards. I got Aaliyah and Dorka.
Okay. Yeah. So so the only you don't have Lou Lopez.
Right, yeah.
Okay. And let's just face it. I mean, it's fun to discuss, but I think one of the main things you have to remember keep it in the back of your mind is this is subject to change all year, all year long. I mean, with injuries, with, I don't know, with personal matters, I mean, these basketball players have a life off of the court too. So with that said, whatever situations arise during this season, always subject. I mean, for crying out loud, you could see a freshman start in the starting five this year, and again, that could be for a good reason or a bad reason, so again, I think it's very important to remember uh there's always going to be change. And I think we talked about that, Ryan, weeks ago. Hey, let's get into the we'll have our last check-in before that November 6th game. And I wanted to talk to you. I'm actually having thoughts about making a trip to Kutztown with you. We'll have to see how that goes in regards to making it there. I would actually, I know it's a preseason game, but hey, that would actually, or you know what? Actually, it's okay. It's actually in Hartford, Connecticut. Let's disregard that. I thought it was in Pennsylvania there for a second. I knew your eyes got big. He said, Phil, are you paying for all that gas to fill up my gas tank? Let's get into comments here from the last video. Three big ones, and then we will head on out for this Tuesday. How about David Serrano? It's great to see him come through. He tells us, man, he's a good critic, right? He's a good critic. He tells us when we say something wrong, although we try to provide useful information. We try to talk up these UConn Huskies because, hey, after all, they deserve it. Every girl on this roster works very hard to earn a spot on this team. With that said, legendary program, David Serrano came through. Great to see you guys back. It was great to see him. Great to see you back, guys. To the naysayers about UConn's prospects this season, you'd be surprised. Gino commented that he's happy with how the team is right now. And for Gino to say that is something. Paige is even complaining that he's not hard on them. But Gino says the team is practicing really hard and they are doing it all by themselves. I think they will be going all the way to the national championship again. Whoa, a big, bold prediction. And it's not even 12 o'clock.
That is a big prediction. Still 2 weeks ago to the preseason, we got them in the national championship. But I like the confidence, and I think it's definitely possible. But yeah, for sure, like I mentioned, Ice Brady, Ayanna Patterson, I expect them to have big seasons. And like you said, it wouldn't be any surprise to me to see them in the starting lineup for some of these games or get 20 some minutes off the bench as well. But it's going to be a team effort, and I'm sure mentioning about the team practicing hard, I'm definitely sure that Gino and those coaches had the team practicing hard almost every single day, making sure they're in the weight room, getting their diet ready, and making sure they're at 100% for the exhibition match and for the regular season as well.
How about Iva? This is a familiar name. Iva, welcome back, guys. Finally beginning actually a regular on this podcast. Welcome back, guys. Finally beginning of new basketball season in regards to UConn roster. I like how the team looks. They will surprise a lot of people. I'm sorry again for Paige, but we heard enough about her absence this season. But now let's talk about players UConn has this season. Paige is out for the season, so let's give a spotlight to some of the other talented players Also, UConn will have a series called the Standard, so maybe your reaction on that. I'm glad you are back. We can again have discussions in comments. One last thing, my prediction: UConn wins the championship. Oh my! So we have some big bold predictions on this Tuesday morning, Ryan. And I'll tell you what, we were on the phone together last night, and this goes for actually the people that watch us too. We talked about how going into relating to her comment, you can discuss this just a little bit. How the off season, as far as on this podcast, it could be just as important as the season.
Yeah, and I think next year definitely we need to do a little bit of a better job in terms of ideas, coming up with
Yeah.
ideas and talking
Yeah.
more and more about UConn during the all season. But
Yeah.
it is pretty tough when there's not any news for about a month coming up with video ideas. And we appreciate all you guys that commented and did the whole video ideas and brought a whole new series to the channel. So we definitely appreciate that. But yeah, Paige Becker is going to be Coach P this season. But yeah, for sure, I'm excited to talk about every single woman on this women's college basketball team. And with Paige Becker's out, we'll try to not say her name too much anymore for this season. But I'm excited to see the team and what they look like. And like I said before, I think there's going to be a lot of questions answered. And yeah, we got some pretty big predictions even before we see the first game about them going all the way to back to the national championship.
It's fun. I told you this one might get you a little fired up. I'm not trying to do that. I mean, you're not on any heart medication or anything, unless I guess the season is in. You might take an aspirin or an Advil every now and then when the game is on, Ryan. Because again, we're coming up on the season, just days away. Bond Riley goes, I think if I'm one of the 11 ladies on the UConn roster without the last name Beckers, I would feel insulted. Okay. Those 11 are a quality group, and I believe they would do better than all you naysayers are predicting. I have a good feeling about this year's team, and I must say that each time in the last four Final Fours, that Williams and Olivia Nelson-Ododo were no shows when they were most needed. So they are not a loss, and each spring colleges lose good players, and they have to be replaced. I believe UConn will be a top 5 team this season, Beckers or not. Okay, so I think that's a whole discussion in and of itself, Ryan. I mean, Ryan, you tell me, what are we leaning towards? Are we leaning towards a successful season? And this goes with anything. Mom always told me, you can't always be the last team standing. Okay, so are you calling it a successful season to be in the top 5? Or are you calling it a successful season only if you win the national championship?
Well, I think in terms of UConn basketball, I think really the only successful season is winning it all. I mean, at this point, we've seen so much success in the past where it's kind of a standard to not only make it to March Madness, but make it to the Final Four, make it to the national championship, and expecting to win it. Because before last season, Gino had won every single national championship he's ever been in. He was 11-for-11, I believe. And now he's 11 for 12, obviously. So I think it is kind of a disappointment or kind of a little bit of a letdown if the UConn Huskies don't win the national championship, because obviously, like we've seen already, we got a lot of people saying that they are going to win it all. So there's always high expectations every single year. UConn always has great prospects coming in. They get great players out of the transfer portal. Gino and this coaching staff does a tremendous job every single year of working with these players, training them up, making sure they stay on the team and stay healthy all 3-4 years with this team, and make sure they have a great career beyond this as well. But I think in terms of, yeah, I mean, whether they're a top 5, top 10 team, I mean, I still expect them to obviously win their conference, win the Big East, so probably go through the bracket and win the championship again. But it's going to be interesting to see what seed they get in March Madness. Of course, we got a long way to go before any of that stuff happens. But I kind of agree and disagree with that a little bit about losing those 3 seniors from last season, because they played such a huge role in the regular season. And whether they showed up in the last final games or not, they meant so much to this team all 4 years. And Avina was only here 2 years, obviously, but no matter how many years they were here, they meant so much each and every season they were here. They contributed so much last season, just like everybody else on the team did. And they had such great years and memories here at UConn. So I think it is going to be tough for UConn to adjust to losing those 3 players, but that's why they got 2 players from the transfer portal. They got 2 new players from high school coming in. So, like they said, that there's there's teams every year that lose players and gain players. So it's going to be interesting to see how UConn deals with that. But to answer the question, I think it is a little bit of a letdown if UConn doesn't win the national championship.
Yeah, it's just I'm still leaning on that one player of mine. And you can't sit back and say we can't have a favorite player. And well, I tell you what, we already know who's Phil's favorite player is. I think that we know who Ryan's favorite player is, but yeah, I'm not going to even say her name anymore. You want to move on from the topic? I'll move on from the topic. People that sub to this channel, I respect that. We respect that. We go to a discussion in a way where we're going to get in arguments every now and then, but we respect what they say.
Right.
And again, because we respect their opinion, we respect them coming through and watching, and supporting. But at the same time, you tell me, Ryan. I mean, again, you don't even have to say her name. And that was she was not even 100% healthy. And who kept bailing them out? And I'm not talking about regular season games, although regular season games are amazing. They're great. They're beautiful. Man, look, when it came down to March Madness, I mean, you got to face it. The real reason it's a team effort, and a lot of other players stepped up on the team and carried them all the way to the championship game. But man, and you got to give them credit because they even stuck around against South Carolina for a while. They were calling that a blowout game, the national championship. I don't really think it was a blowout game.
No.
But at the same time, I mean, you saw that double overtime against North
Yeah.
Carolina? Who kept bailing them out when their backs were against the wall? I get it. Other players step up in certain situations, but I'm talking about the biggest moments. Who kept bailing them out? You don't have to answer it. I don't want you to, because everybody knows. Okay. So maybe I feel a little bit of disrespect when people say, well, you have to move on from that name. Well, you sit back and again, if they go all the way, they go all the way in March. But hey, if they don't, well, you sit back and Ryan, you tell me that in March. Okay. You tell me that if they fall short, you tell me, well, you can't keep talking about it. You can't keep talking about it. Okay. Well, you tell me that next year.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard not to, because I mean this might be a kind of a negative or bad thing to say, but her injury was kind of the biggest story or biggest headline of the entire all season, even though we kind of don't want to put an injury as the biggest headline, but it
Yeah.
is. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when the face of, not only, I mean, whether you like it or not, or you want to hear it or not only the face of the UConn Huskies basketball team, but really, in my opinion, the face of all women's college basketball. So it's kind of hard not to talk about it during the off season. But we're getting close to the regular season, the first preseason game now. So we're gonna move on and talk about the players that are gonna play this season, and hope they have a great season. And I'm excited for it.
Yeah, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. Just remember that, Ryan. You
Lesson
have
for everybody.
I know who you're talking about there. Next game is just 12 days. They actually have the countdown on the official UConn women's basketball website. I can't wait. We all know that Ryan can't wait. We all know that you can't wait. And that's against Kutztown. Ryan, we would do our last check-in coming up. And that's weird to hear, our last check-in. I remember them videos, and now all of a sudden we're doing last check-ins all of a sudden before, even though it's preseason action, we're doing last check-ins again. I'm looking outside the door now. The leaves are falling off the trees, and we're doing last check-ins. I told you, I'm like, man, Ryan, it's going to take forever. I don't want to wait. I don't know what we're going to talk about all this time, but all of a sudden, here we are. We're getting ready for a last check-in video against Cootstown.
Yeah, there's frost on the ground and ice on the cars, and it's coming. Winter is here. It's here, and we're ready for some UConn Huskies action. And it's been a long off season, but it also went by really quick. So we're ready for it. We can't wait.
12 days, 2 hours, 39 minutes, 47 seconds, and counting until the next game. It's Phil and Rye right here on Listen Up.